Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be an un-Celtic related video, so you know what, don't click off if you're here for Celtic related content. It's still going to be a kind of relatable video. It's something that, especially Scottish viewers of the channel should be concerned about. You already know by the video title, but the major news coming out today is that the SFA have decided to stick with Hampden as the home stadium for Scotland for the foreseeable future until the time comes again where we need to vote or think about moving someplace else. So Hampden has been reselected after being down to the decision between there or Murrayfield. In this video, I'm briefly going to give my opinion on whether I think it was the right move, what I think has to be done moving forward, and just a few other things. It probably won't be a long video, it probably won't reach the 10-minute mark, but it's a discussion that I feel like it should be put on the channel coming from a Scottish football fan. It's important. You know, this is kind of determined where our country plays its games for God knows how long, and where the cup finals and such a hell. And I'm going to try and discuss points from different sorts of views, as a Celtic fan, as a Scotland fan, and all different kind of scenarios, and why I think Hampden, in my opinion, was the right direction to go between Hampden and Murrayfield. Now, don't get me wrong, I do not like Hampden. I don't at all. It is a shithole, to say the very least. It is a horrid football stadium with a horrid fan experience, and the atmosphere is, as Scott Brown put it, one of the worst that you can get as a Scottish football fan. Yours is so far away from the pitch. You're struggling for a decent seat anywhere you sit, for a decent view. It's really just not a great stadium to be part of, and it's always had a history and a bad reputation for being not the most pleasant of stadiums and not the best of stadiums to go to for a football match. It's always been like that. I hear the stories passed on through family, from my dad and such. It's just always been the same, and a lot of fans don't like it. But when it came down to Hampden and Murrayfield, I feel like it had to be Hampden between the two for a couple of reasons. I think sentimental is always something that comes into play. A lot of people have had so many good experiences there, so many good football experiences. Although it's not, as I said, the greatest place for atmosphere, and it doesn't give off the best fan what was the word I used a moment ago? I can't remember. Fan fucking experience. That's it. It doesn't give off the best, but so many good experiences have came from it in the past that it does feel like a part naturally of Scottish football, and it needs to remain part of Scottish football. I've had a few great memories in Hampden. I've not been as many times as some others. I've seen Celtic win the double treble. I've seen us destroy Rangers. I've had great moments in Hampden, and it'd be a shame to up sticks and go and move somewhere else and start a new complete history. It's been the home of Scotland from the early fucking 20th century, so it holds a lot of prestige and a lot of past memories for so many people that I feel like it would be a gutter if we were to get up and leave it. But in saying that, there's so many things that can be done to improve it. Hampden has always been the home of Scottish football. Murrayfield is the home of Scottish rugby. Murrayfield, in my opinion, wasn't even, a far greater option. You're looking at a stadium that is not made for football, it's made for rugby. So the pitch is bigger, you've got those big kind of gaps at the ends of the pitch, at one end anyway, it's a wee bit further away because the pitch is naturally longer because it's made for rugby. So I don't think out of the two options, they were the best options. Well, should Celtic Park and Ibrox be options for the Scotland games? I don't know. I think a lot of people will think so. Scott Brown, as I mentioned earlier in his interview, thinks so. And a lot of people will think so. Celtic Park and Ibrox should be options to host the national games. I think it would be better to have our own designated national stadium. But moving forward, we need to do something, and that is improve Hampden Park. My decision, my opinion, the right decision was made. I think Hampden should have been kept as the national stadium. Murrayfield, for someone from Glasgow, right? From someone from Glasgow as a Celtic supporter, Murrayfield would offer a better day out. You're not just driving down Mount Florida. You're going out to the city, you're going to the capital, you've got a bit more to do, a bit more to see and stuff like that. And it's just more of an event kind of feeling. But Hampden is just, it's just always been the place, the hub for Scottish football. But they've got to improve it moving forward. This is where the SFA really need to get their act together. Now, they can't do anything until 2020 at least, because QPR, Queen's Park, are still leasing out the stadium, and they can't make any sort of changes to it until that lease is over. So they've got to wait to 2020 to think about making any improvements, but they've got to now, the SFA, look down and evaluate what they can do to make the Scottish fan experience better, and ultimately improve the atmosphere. Look, away teams come to Hampden and it's all too easy for them. We've seen it time and time again in the past. There is no intimidating atmosphere unless we are playing England at Hampden, because we can't fill it. We can't, you know, get the fans close to the park. Nothing can be generated within that stadium. It either has to be Old Firm Day, a cup final between two, you know, decently reputable sides, or a match against England to hear any sort of noise come from Hampden Park. Honestly, it's dead. 99% of the time, it's dead. They need to improve it, they need to bring the seats closer to the park. I've seen a fine example of this on Twitter earlier today. Stuttgart Stadium. A few years ago, it was exactly like Hampden. They had the running track round it. The seats were far, far away from the park. They were in the same scenario, and then they got rid of the running track. They moved the seats closer in. They done a little bit of, you know, kind of engineering and restructured it a little bit. They have to get it done to Hampden. And now it'd be sacrificing the facilities for a running track. It'd be sacrificing that kind of athletic side of it. At the end of the day, does Hampden Park need to be an athletic stadium? No. We've hosted the Commonwealth Games, we've had it, right? We've hosted the fucking European Championships or whatever. We don't need anything else. If we want an athletic stadium, Glasgow, build an athletic stadium. This is a football stadium. The name on the front door says home of Scottish football, not Scottish athletics. So I feel like if we do want a stadium with a running track, let's just go and build one. It may be a bit expensive, but we need to change Hampden. We need to fix it. For too long, fans have cried out for improvement. And I feel like this vote, if it presented a better opportunity, Celtic Park or Ibrox was one of the options. I think many fans would have rather have seen, including myself, rather have seen one of those two stadiums selected. But out of Hampden and Murrayfield, I feel like it had to be Hampden. We've got to get the seats closer. We've got to make Scotland's atmosphere, Scotland's fan experience better. I can't reiterate that enough. But it has been chosen. That is the news today, the major news. I'm happy it is Hampden. I feel like it's just got that sentimental feel to it that I would like to see it being kept on as a stadium, but it needs improved. We need to get some, you know, restructuring done to it, get it fixed up, get it tip top, and make away fans worried to come there, and away teams worried to play there. It would ultimately make club games more interesting, better as well. You'd actually get a decent view if you're sitting at a goal end. There's so much that can be done to Hampden to make it a world-class national stadium. You look at Wales and the Millennium Stadium and the Cardiff City Stadium, both fantastic stadiums. At Wembley, you look at, and every other option England have, fantastic. We are stuck with Hampden, which is easily the worst. Easily. And it needs sorted, because we deserve it as Scottish football fans. And maybe it will encourage more people to go here. It'll be a lot of money the SFA have got to spend. They've got to put their hand in their pocket. Just as well, it's no fucking Peter Lawlett's in charge, but, you know, is it going to happen? More than likely not. We're more than likely going to be stuck with the same Hampden for the next 10, 20 years. But the thought of it getting done up would be nice. Consider it at least, whoever's in fucking charge, McRae or whatever your name is now, the head of SFA. I know it's no Regan anymore. Anyway, if you've enjoyed, like and subscribe. Let me know your opinions to the Scottish National Stadium decision. If you think it should have been Murrayfield or Hampden. And let me know your opinions to my opinions. If you have enjoyed, like and subscribe, as I said. And I'll see you all next time.